Hey everybody, welcome to our new series here on Champ and Sons, where we are going to be doing a Let's Play of Planet Coaster. Now, this is a game that I was really excited to find out about once I saw it. Uh, I, as a younger kid, I always played the Roller Coaster Tycoon series, and then after RCT3, the third installment, and all their expansion packs, it kind of just seemed like it disappeared or fell off, at least off my radar for the longest of time. Um, and so once this one came out, I kind of got into it and started looking at it. And for a lot of people that played RCT and any of those games, really, I'm not sure the kind of player you were, but me, I was always someone that really played just to kind of build the roller coasters. That's what I love is roller coasters. Any theme park I go to, there are people that look at, say, hey, how's this one? What are the designs of the buildings? How are the theming of the areas? I've never been someone to do that. I'm just like, where are the coasters at? Let's go find the big ones. Those are the best part of a theme park for me. So that's what I gravitated towards there, and that's what I always did for Roller Coaster Tycoon. But Planet Coaster is a beast of a different nature, really. It's something that you when you start designing theme parks, you start designing roller coasters, it kind of makes you get into the habit of looking at things like the stations, the buildings, the areas around it. What are the viewpoints that you're looking at? What are the viewpoints that other basically that the little people are looking at? And so that's kind of always been a new thing for me. Um, this is going to be a new type of series that I have on the channel. Y'all, if you are a watcher of the channel, you'll notice I have some Madden 20 stuff on there. And when that comes out, yes, Madden 21 will start featuring another face of the franchise. Bubba Champion will make a revival. Um, and there's also an MLB The Show series, but that's really just kind of letting the game play itself out because I love baseball and I was desperate to watch it so much that I let a video game play it for me so I could watch it and I could experience it. Um, but that's kind of what's out there right now. And so this one is going to be a little bit more tenuous. Anybody that's ever played Planet Coaster in general knows that okay, you can work for so long on something, and really, in the grand scheme of your park, you get very little done. That's kind of the struggle that I personally have with the game. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love how it feels. I mean, I'm someone who plays on a laptop, so I don't have the most powerful one in the world. I also don't have the most powerful computer in the world that can play some of the most intense graphics, visually graphics, enhanced games, and all that. But this is something that it takes a lot of time to do, right? Me personally, I know most people. I don't really tell most people on my channel or in any of the videos so much. I mean, two of my sons have made a cameo. I've got three of them. My wife's made a cameo on some of the previous videos, and then I've got two other daughters that have not ever been on them, and so that's kind of where it's at. So five kids takes a lot of time away, and trying to play something for 4 or 5 hours in a row to get something decently built is practically an impossibility. So I don't ever venture myself to be one of those types of incredibly impressive builders in the game. There are a lot of them out there. And honestly, if you have a chance to see any of them, watch the stuff that they create because it is awe inspiring. Me, I'm basically what you would call the average one. Uh, I try. This game has kind of forced me into trying to do more. As you can see, I'm trying to get some of these pillars down in, and honestly, I never would have thought of that before until I've seen other creators, other videos on YouTube of people doing let's builds and let's plays that gave me the idea to even think about something like that. And that's really basic. And what's impressive is watching these other individuals do their building. Um, those guys have such talent and an eye for it that you can't help but be shocked and really, as I said, really inspired by it. Um, a lot of what I'm trying to do here, and this is a basic entrance. This is not very elegant. It's not very massive. It's a pretty basic one. I live in Texas, so I have two theme parks that right now that I can go to. Um, Six Flags Over Texas and Six Flags Fiesta Texas. And for a while there was a sorely missed Six Flags um, Astro World that, I've been to all three of those. Astro World, when it did exist. And so, and for people that have gone to them, if you think about it, when you go into the entrances there, none of them are that exquisite. They are rather basic. So that's kind of the inspiration I have. I've been to other theme parks in terms of Busch Gardens in Tampa, Universal. I did that, and it's been, I think, about 15 years since I've been there. And so, yeah, obviously the Disney World and Disneyland, it's been 20 years, if I had to guess, since I've been there. So really, that's kind of what I have to go off of is more of the basic design. And with this park that I'm starting, I haven't even really decided a name for it yet. I'm kind of waiting probably till I get into it some to think of you know how what name really fits the park instead of trying to name it and then fit the design and the style based off the name. Then let me start building it and then let the style and design make the name out of it. I figure maybe that's got to be a pretty good way to do it. Um, I have there is some stuff in my Steam workshop. Uh, it's not called. It's not named after the channel. My Steam workshop is Champ de Pelo Rojo. It's a nickname I got, oddly enough, when I lived in East Texas. And yes, I have red hair, so the reason why it's in Spanish, man, there's a long story to it, and I don't really have the time to get into that one right now, or ever. So, but that's where it's at in the Steam workshop is Champ de Pelo Rojo, and I'll probably link that down below in case anybody wants to take a look at it. I do have some parks in there. They're not very strenuously detailed, and that's what I think I'm really going to be challenging myself with for this series. Is I want to get that type of detail down. I want to, make it not just essentially be functional, not just have at least what I think are good rides and everything, but I want it to have that awe-inspiring appearance. I want it to have that, someone would look at it, they'd go, wow, so they spent a lot of time on this. Um, and then that's kind of what I'm going for in this series. And that's really the first time I've ever, or this is really the first time I've ever taken that approach to even Planet Coaster, as much as it kind of forces you to. When I first started, it's really been, kind of a challenge for me. So I see, other content creators and the things that they're able to create. Um, and it's one of those things that makes you, I guess, self-conscious about it because I see what I can do versus what, these pros have done. And it's like, wow, okay, I can't do 1/10 of that. But what we're going to do in this series is really going to give it my best at trying to put that type of effort and vision into it. Normally whenever I play this game, I don't really plan much stuff out. So in this thing, I am going to end up planning it out as far as the layout, the theming of the buildings and the areas. Um, Believe it or not, this entranceway was planned for the most part. And so it's one of those things that this is all kind of brand new. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this series is to really challenge myself in this game. It's something that I love playing. And if you don't have it, definitely get it. Um, it is a fabulous, not just theme park designer, theme park management game. It's something that makes you feel nostalgia for things that you loved when you were a kid if you haven't been to a theme park in a long time. Uh, so that's definitely that's what I'm going for in this one. Is to try to bring that back, not just within myself, but if anybody that sees it, let them see and go, man, I kind of remember, those basic little arches for Six Flags Fiesta Texas when you walk into go through the metal detectors and then the entry gates. It's a pretty basic building. There's nothing outstanding about it. And even when you get into the entrance plaza of like a Fiesta Texas, and you'll probably hear me refer to that a lot because until this year, we've had season passes for the last like 3 or 4 years, and so we've gone, 8, 9 times, 10 times a summer because I'm someone that's cheap enough where if I'm going to pay that much money, I'm going to get my use out of it. Plus, it's also fun. I love going on the rides. I really do. As much as I can say, well, I've been on them 30 times, I don't care. They're just fun to go on. So that's kind of where I had started looking at this entrance for. It's like I said before, it's kind of basic entrance, but it's something that for me brings in familiarity with the arches, as you can see they're going in right now. But it's different for me in building in the game because I'm actually, those aren't wall pieces. Those are basically free pieces that I'm putting in to kind of build on those walls and those sections. So that, and a little bit, about the channel in general. This is kind of the direction we're going. I am looking at possibly doing a Planet Zoo series because I do have that game as well, and talk about a visual overload. That thing is amazing to see, and the animals, the realism of the animals. Just watching, you wouldn't think as a guy you'd be like, oh, that's so cute, but then you see a little cuddly bear cub running around. Yeah, you do it. You can't help it, but you do. And so that'll probably be coming on here in a little while. I can tell you I'm going to try to get this series down and going. At least, hopefully, one episode per week. That's my goal, but like I said, time constraints may not get there. And so that's kind of where we're headed, not just kind of as a channel, but a little bit about the channel for those of y'all who haven't ever seen anything on Champ and Sons, or you're sitting there asking yourself, why is it called Champ and Sons? That's ridiculous. What a ridiculous name for a channel. Well, really, I started the channel because one of my sons, who's now 10, wanted to do it. He had seen people on YouTube doing it, watching videos, and he said he wanted to. So I said, all right, we'll do that. I said, I'll start you a channel, but I'm going to basically put it under my profile so that way I can monitor, anything that gets said on there. I think everybody's probably experienced at least something negative as far as comment-wise or something like that. And I'm not going to let my son see that. I'm not going to let him have to deal with somebody trying to basically down-talk a child. But, so that's why I had started it under my profile and everything in that area. But there's only a couple of videos with them in it. It wasn't too long before he decided that, you know what, maybe the YouTube thing isn't what he wants to do, and he just wants to play something like Fortnite without having to worry about it being on video. So that's one of those things that after that I figured, well, I had already started it, so what the hell? Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it going. Let's see what we can do with it. And making these videos is really fun to do. So that's kind of how we got started into it. That's how Champ and Sons came about. It did start with the Madden Face of the Franchise series, and then it continued on with the MLB The Show series, and now we're jumping into Planco. Okay? So just a little bit more about what you're seeing going on right now. The roofs that they give you in the game are pretty basic. I put those on there already. You can kind of see them. And so I was sitting there looking at it thinking, okay, I got to fix these roofs somehow. And try to do something that's not just using the basic roof. And I got tired of trying to think of that. Like I said, my mind just doesn't go to it, like some people. And so, okay, what is one thing that every theme park has as far as an entrance goes? You have your season ticket holders or season pass holders, and then your regular daily ticket entrance areas. So I said, let me just get this done. Let me just start working on trying to put a sign in, but not wanting it to be super obvious. Uh, so that way I can get that part done. I can have a little bit of realism, and that's also something I want to go for, is building something a little bit realistic. It's probably going to be a little bit average for what's out there on YouTube, but it definitely want it to be realistic as well. So that's why the entrance isn't all that extravagant because that's what I'm used to. And really, I think as you see going in some of the buildings and all that, I'm gonna try to make sure that they look nice, that they're dressed up, that they're built properly, but they're probably not going to be over the top. Um, and I play on a laptop. Okay, so anybody that has Planco knows what this game can do to your computer. And so, since I play on a laptop, man, you really want to keep that piece count down, even for a whole park. That's why I'm willing to bet you right now. I haven't finished planning out the whole design of it yet, but I'm willing to bet you that this is not going to be an end-to-end park. It's going to be as big as I can make it before my computer catches fire from trying to render everything. So that's kind of one of the things I'm going to have to take into account is going to be the amount of pieces being used during the game, during the building, whether it be coaster stations. One of the things that you'll see a lot of people do is standard or custom supports. Man, yeah, the supporting looks a little bit janky, looks a little bit kind of screwy, but it's not something where I have the freedom to be able to go through and do custom supports. So, yeah, I'm going to just use the in-game supports on that one. I mean, you'll see little things like that someone might say, hey, do some of the custom supports. It's easy. It's only using these different setups, these different pieces. Well, my computer will catch fire. My house will burn down. That's no bueno. Don't need that in my life. So, a little bit more about what you're kind of seeing is I wanted to always put in an information booth. One thing I'm going to work on that in this series also that I didn't do before is going to be essentially the fast passes. And I'll say this: I think have never really done fast passes because I kind of hold a grudge against them. It's something that, hey, you pay a lot of extra money, get in line in front of everybody else. And my thought is, well, crap, I can't pay that. So I hold a grudge. For future reference, in case anybody does wonder, if you know someone who is redheaded, okay, odds are they hold a pretty tough grudge. All right, we all hold grudges fairly strongly, and we don't let them go very easily. Okay, just a little note about gingers. Jeez, don't everybody blow up at me about using the word ginger. I actually had someone do that. I was making a ginger joke, and someone got mad and started, blowing up at me about it. It's ridiculous. I'm redheaded. I'm gonna make the joke. I find it funny. Okay. Well, anyways, I digress. All right. So right now, I'm just putting in the information booth because I am going to put in the fast passes and put in the fast lanes on the coasters when we get to doing them. So that's kind of where it's at right now. And I'm just fiddling around with the roofs and the grid size, trying to make sure it doesn't shoot out the other end because I've had that happen before. More than one way than others, you know what I mean? Oh, look, one of my sons is here staring at my computer and me looking at it like, what's happening? What's going on? You want to say hi to everybody?
How's it going?
They have their cameo moments. They really do. So right now, just trying to do a little bit more detailing work on it, making sure everything kind of moves over from one side to the other because it would look a little bit ridiculous if you just put certain things on the front but not the back end of it. And in all reality, people are going to probably stare at the back end of an entrance more than the front, oddly enough, because they're going to be so focused on everything it takes to get into a park, that once you're finally in it and you're looking around, that's when you start to notice the little details of it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is let y'all just continue watching while we get in, have a little bit of music playing for you, and I'll check back. back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that weird mix of tunes because I haven't really decided what basic mood I want to go with when doing these. All right, so just a little bit about what you've seen and what you've seen happen. Um, Before I started doing this series, one thing I realized is I'm gonna need help with it. Not just in terms of hey, what type of video editing system should I use, but also because I want to do it the right way, and I want it to look really good, and I need to get feedback on it, on what I build, in different ways that I can improve on what I have built. Um, and so one of the first things I've done for the first time, I guess, in my life ever, um, is got onto Discord. You know, my wife gets on Discord with her Clash Royale clan and all that. And my kids play Clash, and they're on Discord in that sense. And so I figured, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I need to do it right. Let me go ahead and jump on because I know there's a lot of um, really talented people on there. Well, one of the things that one of I guess groups that I joined into on Discord was the Bro Nation. Um, those group of individuals has a lot of incredibly talented people um, that'll provide you with some good, honest feedback about stuff. And so, what y'all saw a little bit ago in that center, I guess, tower being changed was feedback that I got from them. I had sent a picture in saying, hey, what do y'all guys think? How does it look? And pretty positive response back, along with the whole, this is possibly something you may want to look at changing. And, when people are right, they're right. So I went on ahead and did my best to change it. And I wanted to, once again, try that style that I see so much in terms of, let me try to make something look a lot better than what one I've done before. But also maybe not just use straight up wall pieces for it. Let me go with the planks of wood, build that little kind of, you know, off level, non level type of edging on it. And so, based on the feedback that I got from a person on Discord named Redline, which, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some of his stuff from it was Masked Bandit, and his series. I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of Redline on there, and you know that group has got so much talent in it that when they give you feedback about something you may want to change, it's best to listen to it. So that's kind of what I did, and I took that feedback, and so I made that small little change to it. Once again, it didn't involve doing that many pieces, so it wasn't going to be something that was going to strain my computer too much. Although it is a laptop, it is decent enough I can actually run the game fairly well. Not very many mega parks, but I can run the game fairly well with what I got. So, and that's kind of where I started to make that change into it, and I started to decide to, let me add some of these borders on here to kind of level it off, make it look just a little bit better as far as an entrance goes. And that's what you see me doing right now is I laid some of the roof pieces as a separate building on the outside of the actual path work that was there. And then I needed to outline it. Because one thing I just could not get, as y'all can see in that little roof, is that grassy patch sticking out of it. As much as I tried to flatten it, knock it down, I have a feeling it's because the path that I had built on there previously was right there, and that was affecting it. So I went on ahead and said, all right, I got to have a way to cover this thing up without actually, I guess, covering it up. So that's kind of what you see me doing right here is putting in the planters because it kind of at least draws your eyes away from it. So it's not something that's as recognizable, in terms of being able to see. And it's really something that if you're looking at it from one of the, I guess, peeps' point of views, it's not something that they're going to see because it is covered up. So you just see me putting in these planters corner by corner, going through, and that way I'm going to end up getting them filled out soon enough. And now finally get to the cover point. Boom. See? Now it's gone. Looks so much better. No more little grassy patch, sort of. Uh, and one other thing with the flowers that y'all saw in the front of the entrance building, one thing I've heard from a lot of people watching their series, but also it's something you can't argue with whenever you look at it. A little bit of plants, a little bit of foliage, a little bit of flower work never hurts anything. And in fact, it actually a lot of times enhances your buildings. Like with what you're seeing me do here, is just going ahead and line the planner. No, I don't go all eccentric, making designs out of it. Like I said, I'm the average builder for the average player. Jeez, sounds like a little bit of Zelensky's auto shop on that one. Shout out to Tommy Boy if anybody picked up on that reference. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start laying out the groundwork here to finish everything off for this entrance, at least the front part of it, and focus on the back part. And I had an original thought for this idea and kind of making a little bit horseshoe after horseshoe, and then I go, let me change it. Let me scrap what I had actually planned because I don't like to plan stuff when I play video games. My day-to-day job involves planning constantly, so I try to do it as little as possible. All right. So I'm going to finish out this front entrance plaza path work. I started trying to do the little corner method, but that wasn't really working out. So then I did this little circular path thing, which is kind of a little tactic I picked up on City Skylines with trying to make a circle out of it. But Planet Coaster and their pathing is no City Skylines. And so it still comes out pretty goofy, pretty janky, but as y'all probably won't see in the next episode because it's just a lot of tedious work, is that path work will be covered up in the future. And so probably for the next episode, we'll get into designing the entrance plaza and we'll kind of go from there. So I want to go ahead and say, please remember to like and subscribe for future content, and I'll be able to catch up with y'all a little bit later on. I'm going to go ahead and do some lighting work here to kind of finish things off for the day. Well, technically for the night. And the lighting does actually change also. Well, I guess I'm not gone yet. There's changes that occur pretty constantly just about almost every time I open it up. So some you're not going to see on video, others you will. But that's Planet Coaster for you, okay? Anybody that plays it knows, oh, that looked good. And then 10 minutes later, ooh, that could be better. Yes. So that's kind of what you're seeing happen every now and then for this entrance and the changes that are occurring. And doing some basic lighting in there. One thing with the Six Flags parks that I go to is that you don't get a whole lot of extravagant lighting. Yes, during Christmas time, they go a little bit all out with Christmas lights. Every place does, I think. So just once again, just remember like and subscribe, and I will catch y'all later in the next episode. Should be hopefully this week. Thanks, everybody. See y'all around. What you're seeing happen right here is it's a little bit more basic lighting, And so what I'm doing now, you're probably wondering why is he looking for signs? Well, what the heck? I know I said I lived in Texas before. I'm actually a born and raised, and oddly enough, still live here, Austinite, in Austin. So this is a little homage to my home city. So me putting in the signs. Anybody that knows Texas, you see the first word being keep. Then I'm assuming that's weird. If I misspelled that, let me know and I'll change it. But I try not to use spell check as much as I can on anything, so there's a very good chance that is spelled horrifically incorrectly. And embarrassingly so. But that's okay. It's just kind of the way it goes. So here I am, just looking to position it. Um, yeah, and I guess that's kind of an idea I'm going with in the park is let me keep it Austin inspired, really. And so that's why we have the Keep Austin Weird sign there. Um, and moving forward, that might be actually, now that I think about it, something I want to go with. Something cheesy for a park name like Weird Land, Weird World, something like that. Um, and here, what you're just kind of seeing me do is some final little cleanup work on this entrance, and that's those little tedious details I'm going to try to hit home on this series. So, just want to remember, I'm going to build a little signage there. Try to do a custom sign in the middle. So we'll see what kind of sign I'm able to come up with. Doing it completely custom, probably one of the first times ever. So keep a watch, and remember, like, subscribe, throw any advice, any ideas you can think of it down below in the comments. All right, and I will check y'all later. So, as always, everybody be good, be safe, and later.